Good morning. My name is Miss Cindy and welcome to the Boys and Girls Club. We're so glad you decided to join us for Power Hour. Today's activity is called Same but Different. Today we're going to learn how to figure out the area of a triangle. Okay? When we're at the club, we want everyone to feel like they belong. It's no different here online. First off, make sure you have permission to participate in the summer enrichment camp from your parent or guardian. Secondly, grab your club on the go bag. You may need some of the materials found inside the bag for today. Lastly, have fun, leave comments, and post pictures and submit your work. Ready? Awesome. Let's get started. First of all, let's go over the vocabulary words. Our first vocabulary word is length. Length is the distance from one end of something to another point. So like the length of your body would be from your head to your toe. That is the word length. Our next vocabulary word is width. Width is the distance from one side of something to the other. To say how wide it is from the left to the right. So that would be how wide something is. Our next word is rectangle. Rectangle is a flat shape with 4 straight sides. All inside angles are right angles. And on a rectangle, the top and bottom are the same size, and the 2 sides, the left and right, are the same side. That makes a rectangle different from a square. A square, all 4 sides are the same. Our next word is area. Area is the amount of space inside the edges of a flat 2-dimensional shape. Like the inside of this triangle. We would find the area of that. And our last word is formula. Formula is a special type of equation that shows the relationship between different things. It's more like a math sentence. A lot of people use equations instead of writing out a bunch of words. They use letters and numbers and make up an equation. And we're going to learn the equation today, or a formula today, to find the area of a rectangle. Okay, the only things that you will need today is, if you have one, a dry erase board, a dry erase marker. If you don't want to have one of those, you can just get a pad of paper or some paper and a pen, or preferably a pencil, so in case you have to erase. You will also need some type of squares, and you're going to need 36 of them. You can use any kind of squares as long as they are a square, which means all 4 sides are the same. You can use blocks, you can use Legos, you can use snap-on cubes. I have these little glass squares because I thought they were really pretty, and they're different colors. They don't have to be the same color or the same texture, but they have to be the same size. And the measurement we're going to use today is centimeters, and each one of these squares is going to represent a centimeter. And your square might even be a different size square, but it's still going to be represent a centimeter for both of us. So let us count out. First of all, we're going to count out 36 squares. You count yours and I'm going to count mine. I'm going to count mine out loud just to keep up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and 36. And I'm going to put the rest away just so none of them get mixed up and I don't accidentally have more than what I need. Okay. I'll wait a few minutes while you finish counting. to get your 36. And again, we're going to learn how to make some rectangles using our squares and measure in that area and getting our formula, which is going to use multiplication. Now, some of you might not know how to multiply, but it's okay because we'll be able to count the inside of the rectangle to get our answer also. And this will also help you learn some of your multiplication facts. Once you do this and you see it, sometimes the multiplication facts will stick with you like a memory. Okay, let's review how you find the area of a rectangle. Remember that the area of a shape is the amount of space inside it. Like this piece of paper is a rectangle. This side and this side are the same. This side and this side are the same. So the area is a space in between it, which is actually this paper. If I filled it up with squares, we would know what the area of this paper is, but we're going to do something a little bit smaller. So remember that the area of a shape is the amount of space inside of it. So we're going to build our first rectangle, and you can build along with me. The first one has a length of 3 blocks. So I'm going to do 3 of my squares. 1, 2, 3. That is my length, 3. Okay? My width is going to be 2. So I'm going to have to go 2 down. 1, and then that row has 1, 2. This row has 1, 2, and this row is going to have 1, 2. So 3 across and 2 down. Does anybody know the length of this rectangle? Yes, that is correct. Anybody else? The length is 3. 1, 2, 3. It's 3 long. Okay, does anybody know the width of this triangle? Yes, that's correct. It is 2. 2 wide. 1, 2. If you count the total blocks, what is the area of this rectangle? That is right. It is 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 is the area of your rectangle. If you drew a line around it, you can see that rectangle. And it has 6 spaces in it. So that area would be 6. There's a quicker way to find the area of the rectangle, and that is to multiply the number of blocks in the row by the number of blocks in the column. So if you multiply the blocks in the row, which are 3, and the blocks in the column, which are 2, what do you get? Of course, 6. The same as what we counted. That makes 3 times 2, 6. So that's how you would write it. 3 across and 2 down. Alright, everybody got that? Alright, now we're going to practice on your own. I want you to use your small blocks to create as many rectangles as you can. Each small block represents a centimeter, remember, so we can write it in centimeters. And after you create each rectangle, we're going to record its length and its width. So we're going to take a few minutes, and you're going to make as many rectangles as you can. If you don't use all your blocks, that's fine. I'm going to try to make them and use my blocks. Now remember, when you're making the rectangle, you can't have the same amount across as you do down, because that would make a square. So the amount across the top has to be different from the amount down, which is the length and the width. Okay, I'm going to start making my triangles and give you a few minutes to work on yours. Okay, still working? I'll give you a few more minutes. I'm finished with mine. Okay. If you're finished, you can go ahead and I'm going to start talking about mine. I only made 3 because I made a really big one. So if you've made a different number than 3 or if you had some left over, that's fine. As long as the width and the length are different, it's okay. So I'm going to talk about my first one. My first one is the one we made in the example. The 3 across and the 2, the three across and the 2 down. So it's a total of 6. My next one had 4 across and 2 down. No, I had an extra one left, sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 down. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now my last one's a really big one. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 across and 3 down. Now I'm not going to tell you how many is in that one just yet. We're going to figure that out on the board. So this is what I want you to do with your paper. We're going to record it. So you're going to get your paper or your whiteboard, whichever one you have, and we're going to draw a chart. Your chart should have 3 columns on it. And columns go up and down like the big white things on the White House. Up and down. So you should have 1, 2, 3 columns. And you could draw a line across it for your title. And then however many triangles you have is how many rows you need. Think of rows like a row of vegetables in a vegetable garden. They go across. So I only have 3 rectangles, so I'm going to only have 3 rows, and you can name them. 1, 2, 3. So that way you know. So our first column is, the name of it is going to be length. So you can write the word length in, and you can put in parentheses centimeters because we're going to measure this in centimeters. Our next column is going to be width. And again, you can put centimeters, so width, how wide our rectangle is. And our last column is going to be the area. And the area is cm2, which means centimeters squared. So our area is our answer. So now you're going to go and you're going to record your your rectangles. So go ahead and record your rectangles, and I'm going to record mine. Okay, so it should look something like this. And your numbers should be the same. If they're the same, if it's 3 and 3, then you have a square, not a rectangle. So you need to do that one over again. Okay, so the way we're going to find this out is we're going to multiply. So 3 times 2 is 6. And if you don't know that, then you can just count your little squares inside your rectangle. My next one was 7 across and 3 down, so 7 times 3 is 21. And my other one was 4 across and 2 down, so 4 times 2 is 8. So these are my areas, 6, 21, and 8. Okay? If the way you want to check them to see if it's right is go look at that one, 3, that has 3 and 2, and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, that one's correct. My 7 times 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. That's correct. And my 4 times 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Correct. So that's the way you check them. You can go back and count the little squares in your triangle. So after you calculate it and check it on your chart, if it's on your dry erase board, then you can erase it. If it's on your paper, then you can just get ready to write in a different paper, on a different part of your paper. Okay. Now we're going to write formulas for triangles. Remember we talked about a formula is a way of stating the relationship between length, width, and area. Okay, so we're going to use the formula L times W equals A. So what does that mean? Why are we putting letters? How are we times in letters? Well, these are just like a representation, like a symbol. L stands for length. So when we have this area, we're just going to substitute the number in. So instead of always saying a number, we just use a letter and we just substitute the number in for it to make it easier. So you can put parentheses underneath there, and then you just go fill it in. Okay? So we're going to use the length times width equals area formula to describe the following rectangles. Our first one is, and I need you to write 3 of these formulas. So you can write 3 of them, and then we're just going to plug in the numbers like that. So you should have 3 empty parentheses representing length, width, and area. Everybody see that? All right. So on our first one, our length is 2. So you can just write the 2 in. And our width is 8. Okay? We don't have to do the answer yet. We're going to go on to the next one. The next one, our length is 3. And our width is 5. And on the last one, I kind of tripped it up. Our area is 12. So you're going to write it down here by the A. And our length is 3. So we're going to find the width. So I don't know if you can see that. Pretty good. So now we're going to go figure it out. So our first one is 2 times 8. 2 times 8 is 16. Very good. Our next one is 3 times 5. 3 times 5 is 15. And if you don't know, then you can draw your little squares and count them up. Now our next one, we already have our answer, 12, but we have a 3 for our length, so 3 times what is 12? Well, you can do that by doing 12 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so I have 12 squares, that's my answer, but it has 3 for the length. So it needs to only be 3 across. So that means I need to only have 3 across. So I need 3 across, 3 across, 3 across, and 3 across. So how many do I have going down? 4. That is correct. So 3 times 4 equals 12. Very good. So now I'm going to draw some rectangles on my board. And I want you to draw it on your board. So listen carefully while I give you the numbers. Okay? The first one, we'll call it A. The rectangle I want you to make has 6 rows and 4 columns. 6 rows and 4 columns. Remember, rows go across. So I'm going to draw my 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 4 columns, so you should have 4 going down. So you should have 4 rows of 6. And once you do it, you can like draw the outline around it so you can see. So this is what 6 rows and 4 columns looks like. See, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? Our next one, and try to write that in a different area, is we're going to call it B. And B is 4 rows and 6 columns. Everybody got it? Okay. So that one has 4 rows and 6 columns. Anybody notice anything about those two? They have the same numbers, but they're opposite. One has 4 rows, 6 columns. The other one has 4 columns, 6 rows. So it's going to make the way your triangle looks, way your rectangle looks a little different. But it's probably going to have the same area. I think it will because it's the same numbers. So we'll find out after we do our third one. So rectangle C has 6 rows and 6 columns. It's going to be a really big one. So, going to have 6 across and 6 down. If you ever did a crossword puzzle, they always say across and down. So that's like columns and rows, length and width, all the same words. That one has a lot of squares in it, which means it has a big area in it. Alright, now we're going to write the formulas for these. For A, write your formula and we're going to see if we get it correct. So remember, our formula is length times width equals area. So what is our length in our first one? It is 6, correct. What is our length? What is our width in the first one? It is 4. And 6 times 4 equals, if you don't know that multiplication table, count it. It is 24. So 6 times 4 equals 24. Say that a few times in your head and I bet you'll remember that next time. B had 4 rows and 6 columns. So our length was 4 and our width was 6. So it's backwards. But if 6 times 4 is 24, what do you think 4 times 6 is? Right. It's also 24. Very good. So say that a couple more times and you will know 6 times 4 and 4 times 6 is 24. And that multiplication fact will probably be one that stays with you forever now. So let's look at numbers at rectangle C. 6 rows and 6 columns. So our length is 6 and our width is 6. So our formula should look like this. 6 times 6 equals, now 6 times 6, ooh, that's a hard multiplication, huh? If you don't know it, you can count the squares. But look at the time it takes me to count the squares. I have to count each one until I get to 36. Or you can just, if you remember your timetable, 6 times 6 is 36. So see how fast I got that answer if I memorize that multiplication table? 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 6 is 36. Where if I'm sitting there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it's okay if you have to count it. But once you say it and you do it, then you'll probably remember it. Alright, so we got all of these. So what surprises, if any, did you find when you were making your rectangles? I found that I had 1 extra square left. I didn't have to use them all.
No problem too.
I also found that everybody could make different rectangles and sizes depending on what you liked and how many of your squares used. And how does multiplication help with finding the area of a rectangle? If you know your multiplication, you can find your areas really fast. If you don't know your multiplication, finding the area will help you learn some of your multiplication tables, especially the lower ones that you can remember just by looking at them. Okay. So So I'm hoping that helped you in learning how to find the area of your rectangle and also learn some of your multiplication. You can practice with that, play with that, find some different rectangles and record it. We want to see what you made. Take pictures of your rectangles that you made and get a chart, and now you can make rectangles and find the area of them all day long. Okay. And I hope you enjoyed learning about rectangles and the areas. And remember to interact below by leaving comments, and be sure to come back for more fun videos. Stay connected to the club by Facebook. And that's all for today. Until next time, happy rectangling.